This is Daily Blast Live. We're talking about what you're talking about. Real, honest, entertaining, live. DBL starts right now.
3, 2.
Welcome to Daily Blast Live. It is Friday. We made it, February 28th. And look who I'm here with. Jeff and Brandon.
Yeah, buddy. What's up, buddy?
Look at this.
Welcome to the early show.
Huh?
Thank you for welcoming me.
Welcome to the early show. You guys look great in your pastels.
Thank you.
Lindsay and Al have the day off. Let's get right to it. So for the very first time, we're hearing from a male juror who actually sat on the Harvey Weinstein trial. They found the movie mogul guilty of 2 of the 5 charges against him, including criminal sexual act in the 1st degree and rape in the 3rd degree. So here's what he told CBS's Gayle King about how the group reached its decision. I'm fascinated by this, and whether they considered his other behavior in their decision, like the silly little walk-up. Let's take a look.
It was our deduction and interpretation of the law, regardless of behaviors before or after an alleged incident, on this day, at this time, in that place. Can you do that? And the answer for the convictions is no, and that's a crime.
What do you guys think? I mean, I was sort of shocked they didn't hit 1st degree. The rumor is one juror just did not believe at all the Sopranos actress, at all, like nothing about her testimony. So instead of a hung jury, they compromised.
Yeah, he says there's nothing simple about the jury coming up with this verdict. And, you know, like you said, we're glad it wasn't a hung jury, because then those women would have to relive those experiences and testify again. I just wonder, Tori, because they're not taking in the behavior before and after could this open up grounds for an appeal?
No, because that's if the judge said, I want you to just look at the action, that's fine. But let's be super honest, Jeff. Can you really not look at the actions of Harvey Weinstein?
And that's what I was just going to say. I don't know how that doesn't seep in maybe to your subconscious at all. Him walking in like that, playing the victim as opposed to the accuser, you know, so it's like, for me, that would work against him if I was a juror, and it's not supposed to.
No, it's
but
not.
How does it not play a factor?
It can, and you're supposed to, like, Supreme Court justices are supposed to be in an ivory tower and never supposed to, like, know about pop culture, but that's impossible.
But when he's saying the relationships and everything that happened after the alleged events, I was thinking the consensual relationship that he had after the alleged rape, because he continued to have a relationship with these women. So that's what I was thinking, not the wheeling in on the stroller.
I think you've taken everything.
Yeah, okay. you do. Okay. It's everything. I was just pointing out, like, the obvious, you know what I mean? Because they did that on purpose.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I'm sure when he got home, he threw that away and he was like,
Hey, Harvey Weinstein. Gaga, ooh la la. Huh?
wow, your jokes don't work early.
No,
either,
they don't,
huh?
not at all.
Right,
Lady
cool.
Gaga is back. Thanks, Jeff. Check out her, shut up, Rob, our steady cam. Check out her weird and wonderful new video for the song Stupid Love. I want you. Me back to the sounds of her earlier music. Also, she's wearing a mask. I wonder if that's going to be like coronavirus chic. I'm not even kidding. But it's Gaga's new boyfriend who's stealing the headlines. That's because his new ex-girlfriend, New York Times journalist Lindsay Krause, wrote a piece today about how she discovered their romance on social media. She says her friend started texting her after Gaga posted this photo of her new man, Michael Polanski. While she was shocked to learn her ex was dating the superstar, Lindsay is not throwing any shade. Instead, she says it inspired her to embrace her inner Gaga and live more fearlessly. I read this thing. It's so good. She says something like, I was thinking, should I get that new shirt or that bathing suit? Well, Gaga would have gotten that new bathing suit, so I'm getting that new bathing suit.
She's taking it really well.
It's great.
She's an opportunistic person. Like, this is her chance to kind of put herself out there. I guarantee you she's going to be asked to be on some sort of show, E-Pop News or something like that. How does it feel that your boyfriend is now dating Lady Gaga?
She's a journalist. I'm interested in that story, aren't you?
I don't know. I secretly think she's like, I'm so happy for them. And she's like, no, you know, and, like in a cold shower.
Would you be okay if your ex was dating someone like just supremely cool?
So like if my wife, all of a sudden we split up.
If Tori was dating Tom Brady, or you know what I mean?
Yeah, I'd be like, well, you know, I'm happy. If you're happy, I'm happy. And then I'd be like, no.
I mean,
you're in the shower.
Yeah, for sure.
You want your ex to upgrade. If your ex downgrades from you,
No, it makes you feel better.
Yeah, right.
If they downgrade,
No, that's what I'm saying.
you
got the
feel
whole
better
thing
about
back.
yourself.
No,
Yes.
no. If they downgrade, it's a reflection of you.
No, but you're the top.
But don't you feel better like, oh, you're with that guy? Have fun.
Exactly.
If my ex was with Michael B. Jordan, I'd be like, yeah.
No, you would
No,
not.
I would buy tickets for Black Panther.
Your ego would not be popped a little
bit. What do you mean? I would write
Okay.
an op-ed just like this woman, but I would feel so excited. Like, yes, I put her on the level. I Amber Rose.
Okay, clap your hands in the studio if you believe Brandon. No one.
Thank you.
Okay,
Thank
Milt.
you.
Milt has your back. All right, that's nice.
I'm an upgrader.
All right. Okay.
That's good. That's good for you, though.
Thank you.
I'm honest, and I would pout.
I'd be crying in the shower. I'd be crying in the shower. When is something cultural appropriation, as in rudely taking over someone else's culture? So this has got us talking. A performance of Negro spirituals by a mostly white choir at Western Michigan University is sparking a fierce debate. So I want you to take a look at some of the performance to see for yourself. Take a look. One person who attended the performance thought it was inappropriate for white people to sing Negro spirituals, writing in an email to the dean of the school, quote, "As a black woman, Negro spirituals are a part of my history and my culture, and it signifies the struggle and hardships my ancestors went through. The way the program last night was portrayed is that it's all fun and games and is merely entertainment." Now, the professor who led the choir, who is black, responded saying, "I do not feel the need to have to defend what I'm doing, and I've done this for 30 years and to a great response. I'll be 100% with you guys. I went to the first integrated school in DC, very liberal. We sang Negro spirituals, and we were all Jewish white kids, like a lot of us. And we did it to learn as part of the education about slavery. So we sang Follow the Drinking Gourd, which is about following a constellation of the gourd to a station in the Underground Railroad. It was like a map. And we'd say, follow the drinking gourd. And we learned as musical education. I don't find that cultural appropriation. I know the Black National Anthem by heart. I find that important.
I just feel as though there are certain things
That shouldn't be touched.
of our ancestry and where we come from that shouldn't be touched.
I feel you.
Because I look at this, yes, you can think of it as education for you, but it's more entertainment. Because if you're going to sing and they're going to sing these Negro spiritual songs, then you have to understand really what the context was, because there's an underlying tone in a lot of these. You know, these people were stripped of their history, stripped of who their ancestors are, and weren't allowed to sing at times. There are codes in these songs about the locations and where to go with the Underground Railroad. So you being an Italian American, Jeff, or some of us having Irish Americans in here, if your ancestors sang a song for when they came over here, and you know they were stripped of who they are and what their country, what their original motherland was, I would not dare sing a song or do anything that I would feel like would offend your ancestors. Now, if it was the music, like, you know, like the cornrows and pop culture, that's for all of us,
right.
I feel like.
You don't think it's important to pass that legacy on? And I learned about the codes, and I've passed that on, even as a white person,
Tori,
as an ally?
You have to go, you live in D.C., you have to go to the African American Museum.
I have, I love
because,
it.
yeah, and you can see when people stripped from their, you know, from their tribes, from their families, and brought over here. I think that's more educational than just some people up there singing and dancing.
Okay.
Because do they go and do they go and Google what these songs mean?
You want it
and
fully
all that?
educated.
Yes,
All right,
absolutely.
interesting.
That was interesting because I had an opposite take, but then hearing yours, I see your side, and I wouldn't have said that, which I didn't. So good.
Very well said, Jeff. Very well
Tori
said.
talks a lot in the 10:30 show, too, huh?
Man, we have to give a big DBL shout out to Junior Heaven Fitch, who became the first female wrestler in North Carolina history. Look at that, to win a state high school championship. She beat 7 boys to win the title. Check her out on the winner's podium, beaming with a giant smile as she celebrates her win. And I just want to take a quick look at the video of the boys and their reactions to her winning. You can see them on the podium. I think there they are. Very sad.
They're not mad that she beat them. They're mad that they got 2nd, 3rd, and 4th place. The
It's still a
objective
great
is to win.
picture. It's a great image.
I think there's going to be one day, though, because this isn't as uncommon as you think. Like, there's going to be one day when we're just like, oh, a woman took 1st place in this. A woman took, you know, a woman starting quarterback for
I will admit, I didn't know girls wrestle boys. I didn't know that. I thought that maybe because of certain situations it would be uncomfortable, but you've seen that. You've wrestled girls, is that right?
Well, not officially. Not officially. There was no ref there. But no, but when I went to high school a long time ago, there was a female wrestler, and it wasn't really a big thing, and she was pretty good.
Yeah.
She made it like to the regionals every year. They wrestle, again, I don't want to They wrestle at a lower weight. This was 106 pounds. And it's all about, listen, I'm scared. Someone's laughing in the booth at me because I'm like walking on eggshells now. I don't know what to say. But it's more about being technical when you're a lighter weight than it is like just sheer strength.
Wow. Well,
did I offend anybody?
Not at all. You did great, buddy.
Did I?
No, you didn't.
Now you're involved. If I get shamed, you gave me a high five.
Great, I'm an accomplice. I'll take that. DBL, we are live and coming up. Jason Ritter is known for his TV and movie roles, but he can also sing. He tells Lindsay what it's like being in Frozen 2. And you, the viewer, are our fifth host. Should kids be forced to dance with other students at school functions? So a new policy in Utah is sparking national outrage. Your comments are coming up next. Also, Jeff is the best. What? That's in the prompter.
Who put that in there?
This
So Jeff's take on the cultural appropriation, because I kind of was long-winded with.
No. Tori was. No, here's my take. I always think it's interesting to learn. But this is why I'm glad you said what you said. I always think it's interesting to learn people's culture. Okay, so I think it's wonderful if you travel and learn what they eat and what their ancestors did. After hearing what Brandon said, this might be different than culture. Yeah. Okay.
I completely disagree, with all due respect, because if you learned a Holocaust song like the Shema, a prayer that people sang as their lives were being gassed out, I would be so, and maybe this is coming from a Jew and it's different, but I'd be so honored that that is not lost in the history. You understand the context, and it is. It has to be done as non-entertainment of, I know what an Underground Railroad is, I know what station is, I know that this was a coded song that people had to deal with. It has to be musical education. Do you agree with that? Let's say I'm learning about slavery and they included Negro spirituals. Is it that I sang it? Is it that? Right? Because I know it's important to know and learn.
A lot of the Negro spirituals have gone into like blues and some of your like R&B rock. You know, it's kind of adapted into more modern music. But I just feel like
it rubs you in a weird way.
There's certain things that have to be told by Jewish people when it comes to the Holocaust. Because you've been to the African American History Museum. You've seen how the lynching, the marks on people's backs and all. They were using these songs to escape. It was their escape.
But wouldn't you want someone to have to pass that on, and so a legacy isn't vanished?
Yeah, but I wouldn't feel right. I wouldn't feel right being there or seeing a bunch of white people singing those.
I can see what you're saying. I mean, it was This is 1985, and I wonder these days when we sang the Black National Anthem, was that a weird take for people?
No, I don't think that.
But you think that Negro
I think that was something educational. I just think something like the Negro spirituals should be told in a different manner than just people up there, singing and chanting.
Interesting.
There should be a whole theater thing.
Welcome back to DBL. It's time for Fifth Host, and social media is on fire after a mom is outraged because her 11-year-old daughter, and I want you to listen to this story, was forced to dance with a boy at a Valentine's Day social. The mom's middle schooler was happy to dance with her crush, yet respectfully said no to another boy who made her feel uncomfortable. But according to the principal, it's school policy to say yes if any other student wants to dance with you. So DBL Nation, is this policy innocent or does it enforce rape culture? We're going there.
Oh, I get to kick it off, huh? Here we go. Elizabeth from Facebook says, we teach our kids to say no and about consent. It's their choice and it shouldn't be a problem if it's not about race, creed, color, or religion. Elizabeth, I think you nailed it. You hit it right on the head. Listen, life is about rejection. You get rejection, you learn. You get rejection, you learn. If you think giving a kid a 10th place ribbon is going to teach your kid about winning and losing, you're wrong. If you think your kid is not going to get rejected in life, you're wrong. Kids have to learn this lesson. I think we're getting away from that as parents nowadays. My kid is definitely going to learn the way I learned.
You're not giving participation trophies to...
Hell no.
Absolutely. Felicia from Twitter says, I think this is a great idea. Let everyone dance at that age, they're little kids. What's the big deal? I'm with Jeff on this one, Felicia. And Michael Jordan says, He says, I can accept failure. I cannot accept not trying. You have to learn from a rejection and learn from a no. Like and plus it's dancing. You want your kid close to someone they feel uncomfortable with?
That's what I want to talk about. Gail from Facebook says, horrible. Kids need to experience rejection at this age so it doesn't faze them when they're older. All of you guys agree with the failure part, but what I'm talking about as a girl is if I had to dance with someone at 11 when let's be honest, my breasts are coming in, I'm going through puberty, it's very uncomfortable, and according to this girl, this boy, made comments that made her very uncomfortable. She had a full emotional breakdown before the dance. She didn't want to go. She was terrified. Because when you are saying to a woman, your body, you're not allowed to say no to someone who wants to touch you, you have invited the entire idea of no means yes. And that is a terribly dangerous and inherently, I think, unconstitutional thing to do. So I'm highly against it. I think it's awful. We can read another comment, but this to me screams of not allowing a woman her independence, her agency to say I am uncomfortable and therefore I say no.
Cool. Stephanie from Facebook says, I wouldn't let my kids go to a dance like that. Good comments. Great comments.
I'm going to take the other side on this one. What if they're looking at this as a way to build a kid's confidence?
They are. Now, here's what they responded with. Utah says, look, it's not a nice thing to be told no by someone. It's also not a nice thing to be told, I don't have a voice because I'm a girl.
And that's totally valid, too. But it's not a nice thing to say no to somebody. Life is all about rejection and how you overcome it.
Amen.
And now we're protecting our kids like they walk around in a force shield and they're never going to get hurt
And you're not protecting the girls. You're literally setting them up for failure.
Yes,
in my opinion.
From a woman's point of view, we have two. Yes, you're right.
Did y'all just agree on something?
Well, not really, because I was thinking from a man's point of view.
You can't just say yes.
I did say yes.
Coming up on
Don't
DBL.
force me to say no.
Oh boy, Lindsay goes one-on-one with Frozen 2 actor Jason Ritter. Why he's glad he didn't ruin the movie, and how he's remembering his famous father, John Ritter, one of the loves of my life. I think he's the best physical comedian around. Chatting with the stars next. May he rest.
February?
So, Tori, you're thinking when it comes to the fifth host, what we're talking about, you're thinking of it as the woman's perspective. But
it has to be because she's uncomfortable.
But what if there's a little girl that wants to dance with like the
There's always going to be someone like that, and this is what they said, Brandon. We do ask all students to dance. It's the nice thing to do, and this will continue to be our policy. It's not the nice thing to do. It's to agree and allow the boy or whoever's asking. And let's be honest, at 11, it's usually the boy to always get the yes, and that is a crazy dangerous thing to enforce.
But at the same time, you're still trying to build a kid's confidence to be able to even walk up.
You're also trying to build rejection, right? Am I right?
What? Yeah, but at that time, you're not getting rejected. You're getting rejected because you're not like the cool kid, or you're not like.
I feel bad for the guys that don't say yes, but I'd be much worse off and be much more worried for vulnerable 11-year-old girls to learn that they have to say yes.
But aren't you worried that, like the Harvey Weinsteins in the world, where they probably were rejected a lot at a young age?
That's their problem. That's a crime.
Then they get older, get some money, and now they get into some sort of power.
Dude, that's your problem. That's a narcissist psycho. That's not my problem. Harvey Weinstein's a psycho. He's a narcissist, convicted
I'm
rapist.
just asking questions.
No, I know. I just feel very strongly that at any point, if my daughter, which I don't have, or I was taught to say yes when I meant no, I would have a real problem with that. Do you guys like my Girl Friday outfit? Okay.
No.
Hi.
Hello. Girl. This must be a longer break.
How long?
Good casual.
Marquita Baker says she likes our bickering.
Oh.
I don't, Marquita. I don't. How?
30.
Oh, safe. Marquita.
Shut up, bro.
Shut up, Rob.
I was laughing at Jeff's reaction.
No, I love saying shut up.
Nice to meet you. Hi, Melissa. Nice to meet you.
Stand by, here we go.
He looks like his dad, doesn't he?
$200.
He looks just like his father.
That's my favorite show.
Oh.
Now and safe.
And you know he didn't have to die.
Right, that's it. Here we go. 4098. 1-800-281-4098.
Welcome back to DBL. Jason Ritter is best known for his movie and TV roles, but did you know he can sing too? Earlier, Lindsay Granger sat down with him to talk about his part in Frozen 2 and his famous dad, who we all loved, John Ritter. That's in today's Chatting with the Stars.
Jason Ritter, welcome to DBL. So Frozen was one of the highest grossing animated films of all time, and then Frozen 2 surpassed it. How did you feel coming into such a huge franchise, and was it even intimidating?
It was super intimidating. As a new character, there's a possibility in your head that you could ruin it all. So I'm happy that I didn't.
Everyone ready?
Ready. I could use a rehearsal. I love love.
Wait, you talk for them too?
I do.
And this isn't your first time in the cartoon world. What's the best thing about playing an animated character?
Just that the final product is so wildly different from your experience of it. You know, you're in a room that's sometimes very, very quiet, and then months later you get to see all of this work that's been done by all these incredible animators and the directors and the sound, and all of a sudden your voice is transported to a magical land, and it's like a magic trick.
I always think that you guys get to dress down in that room. Is that true?
I have heard the rumors. I've never been brave enough to show up like in my pajamas, like people say you can do as a voice actor.
I heard you had to sing in your audition for Frozen 2, but the song was ultimately cut from the movie.
I did have to sing.
Is there any chance I can get a little snippet?
I remember that there was the word sky in it, and it went kind of like sky.
Oh, listen.
That's all I can remember.
I am the worst singer in the world, so that was brilliant.
Oh, thank you very much. I'm not warmed up. I just off the cuff.
We here at DBL are huge fans of your father, John. He was famous for his role on Three's Company and appeared in several children's movies. How does your dad's legacy inspire your career choices?
He really wanted to tell stories that interested him, and he had so much fun. He loved to work. He also saw the importance in doing things that everyone could enjoy, and one of the great joys of his later career was doing the voice of Clifford the Big Red Dog. He loved kids coming up to him and recognizing his voice, and the ways that we affect people it varies, and you have to kind of change it up a little bit to reach new people.
So true. Jason, thank you so much for joining us. We appreciate you.
Thank you so much for having me.
Frozen 2 is now on Blu-ray and digital. We'll be right back.
Promotional consideration is brought to you by...
Guys, welcome back to Beauty Blast. I'm Jeray Banks, or at Jeray for the Slay, if you know what I mean. Make sure you're following on all social media platforms for the newest and best of Beauty Blast. Now today, I'm coming at you with some beauty gossip, and this tea is piping hot, y'all. Okay, let me go ahead and blow this off because it's ready, all right? Now, today we're talking about Wendy Williams calling out Iggy Azalea. Now, this happened on Wendy's talk show recently, in which Wendy Williams was actually speaking about Nicki Minaj's retirement. And she goes in at some point to start talking about Iggy Azalea and says, you know, the Australian girl with the fake body, it's not even hers. Now, Wendy has some nerve to talk, because we all know that Wendy isn't the most, all natural in the body business, okay? We can kind of see from your figure, girl, looking like a lollipop or whatever. Now, that's not any of my business. However, it was Iggy's. Iggy clapped back on social media, sending out a tweet saying, oh, you mean that crackhead that has a gossip show? And that was definitely a shots fired moment, y'all. We're gonna go ahead and take a quick moment for that, because Wendy just, woo, child, I don't know what to say for you, girl. Back to reality. Now, Wendy hasn't really came back and said anything, or nor has her camp, because let's face it, Wendy Williams is the queen of gossip. A little Australian queen talking some smack isn't really gonna hurt her, but we do have to face the facts that maybe we shouldn't be calling out people's drug addictions. Addiction is really something that is from your health and overall psyche, so a few people were clapping back on Iggy Azalea saying, is this really right, girl? Did you really take the right shot here? Because that kind of was a low blow, seeing that Wendy Williams was just in rehab last year. With that being said, I'd love to know your guys' take. What do you think? Was Iggy going too far? Or was she in the right, since Wendy kind of called her out first? I don't know. I'm kind of on Iggy's side, but hey, that's just me. I'm a shady queen. If you guys have more questions or want to comment on Beauty Blast, write right below or find me on social media at Jeray for the Slay. We'll see you guys next time.
The push to reach voters before they head to the polls is causing our phones to vibrate and ring. And some of you have questions about whether texts from political campaigns are really allowed. Let's verify, starting with the Federal Communications Commission. The answer under the Telephone Consumer Protection Act, which prohibits unsolicited robo-texting. But if it's a real human who sends you a text, that is allowed. Campaigns can also take advantage of peer-to-peer messaging software to streamline batches of text while still requiring a human to click send. We asked the FCC about the rules of campaigns using P2P texting and found out it's still up in the air. There's a petition pending asking that very question. But Candace wants to know how campaigns are getting her number in the first place. Here's Emory political science professor Dr. Andra Gillespie with insight.
The easiest way for campaigns to get a hold of phone numbers is when you sign up to get election updates or when you sign up to attend a rally or a march. There are also ways that you could get access to consumer data as well.
For instance, there are private companies that collect and sell consumer data. To sum it up, we verified it is legal for political campaigns to text you without consent if a human is behind the message. And according to Dr. Gillespie, texting can be an effective campaign tactic.
Text messaging, though not as effective as canvassing, can actually increase voter turnout, which is why campaigns turn to it.
Welcome back to DBL. The high cost of healthcare is more and more Americans coming up with creative ways to pay. So we're chatting about it in today's Health Blast, sponsored by eHealth. 8 million people have started crowdfunding campaigns for themselves or someone they know to cover medical expenses. And 1 in 5 Americans donated to a crowdfunding campaign. Another way to help, fundraisers. Elijah is a teenager in Texas. He's only 14 years old, but he wakes up every day at 5 to bake desserts he sells to pay for his mom's medical bills. For more information, call 1-800-850-0679. I love this. I also hate that I have to report on a 14-year-old getting up early because I believe healthcare is a human right, and I think it's absurd where we are in 2020.
Yeah, it's something that more and more we're seeing it being more bipartisan, and you're seeing that sense of community when it comes to these fundraisers. Like what used to just be community, now because of the internet, it's spread out.
And everyone knows that feeling of like,
absolutely.
I just lost.
And I totally agree with you guys, but you make lemons out of lemonade. That's what this guy's doing. I wish he wasn't in his position, but good on this kid.
Absolutely.
Good point.
Great
well, nice. Are we going to end on a nice note?
You look very nice today, Corey.
Oh, it's big for us. We'll see you Monday. Same time, same place. Great show, Jeff. Hey!